I was staring at my phone when it rang. The hospital's number flashed on the screen at 2:47 a.m., and my stomach dropped before I even answered. "Dad." My daughter Emma's voice was barely a whisper, cracking with pain and fear. "Dad, I'm at Memorial Hospital. Uncle Derek pushed me down the stairs. He's telling everyone I slipped, but Dad, he pushed me. He looked right at me and pushed me." My hand tightened around the phone. "Emma, baby, are you okay? How badly are you hurt?" My arm's broken and my head. It hurts so bad. "Dad, the police are here." Uncle Derek is crying, acting like he's devastated. And Mom is standing next to him. She won't even look at me. That last part hit me harder than anything else. Your mother is there. She keeps saying I'm confused, that I hit my head. But I didn't, Dad. He pushed me. I heard him on the phone earlier talking about some deal, something about offshore accounts and the harbor project. He saw me listening, and his face changed. Then later, at the top of the stairs, he pushed me. "Which hospital, sweetheart?" "Memorial." "But Dad, they believe him. The officers keep looking at me like I'm making it up because I'm upset." Mom vouched for him. She told them I've been stressed about school, that I might be confused. "I'm on my way. Don't say anything else to anyone until I get there. Do you understand me?" "Okay, Dad. Please hurry." I threw on clothes and grabbed my keys, my mind racing. Derek Castellano. My wife, Rachel's brother, city councilman, real estate developer, the golden boy of Chicago politics. And apparently, someone willing to hurt a 15-year-old girl to cover his tracks. The drive to the hospital took 20 minutes. 20 minutes of my knuckles white on the steering wheel, remembering Emma as a baby, teaching her to ride a bike, helping her with homework. 20 minutes of rage building in my chest like a pressure cooker. I walked into the emergency room and spotted them immediately. Rachel stood next to her brother, her arms crossed, her face pale but set in hard lines. Derek was talking to two police officers, his expression the perfect mix of concern and grief. An act, a goddamn performance. "Where's my daughter?" I said, my voice cutting through their conversation. One of the officers turned. "Sir, are you?" Then he stopped. His eyes widened, and I watched the color drain from his face. Agent Donovan? I hadn't heard that title in 3 years. Not since I'd left the FBI's Organized Crime Division and taken a quiet job as a security consultant. Not since I'd traded in late nights and dangerous cases for a normal life with my family. "It's just Marcus now, officer." I glanced at his name tag. "Patterson. I had no idea Emma was your daughter, sir. I worked with you on the Moretti case back in 21. You probably don't remember me, but where is she?" "Room 7, sir. The doctor's with her now." I started walking, but Derek stepped in front of me. "Marcus, thank God you're here." It was horrible. Emma was upset, running down the stairs, and she just fell. I tried to grab her, but I looked at him. Really looked at him. He was good. Tears in his eyes, voice shaking just enough. If I hadn't known better, if I hadn't heard Emma's terrified voice on the phone, I might have believed him. "Move," I said quietly. "Marcus, you have to understand, I would never." I said move. Rachel grabbed my arm. "Marcus, stop it. You're making this worse." Emma fell. Derek tried to help her. "Why are you acting like this?" I looked at my wife. We'd been married for 17 years. We'd built a life together, and she was standing here, defending the man who hurt our daughter. She called me, Rachel. She told me what happened. "She's confused." "She hit her head," the doctor said. "She's not confused." Derek put his hand on Rachel's shoulder. "It's okay, sis. He's upset. We all are. Marcus, I know this looks bad, but I swear to you, it was an accident. Emma must have misunderstood something she heard me saying on the phone. You know how kids are. She probably got scared and ran, and then when she fell, her mind just connected things that weren't there." His voice was so reasonable, so calm, and I wanted to break every bone in his hand that was touching my wife's shoulder. "We'll talk later," I said, and walked past them to find Emma. She was sitting up in the hospital bed, her left arm in a temporary cast, a bandage wrapped around her head. Her eyes were red from crying, and when she saw me, she started crying again. "Dad." I pulled her into a careful hug, mindful of her injuries. "I'm here, baby. I'm here. Nobody believes me. I believe you." Mom said, I'm confused. She said, Uncle Derek loves me, that he would never hurt me. But Dad, I saw his face. He was going to kill me. If I hadn't grabbed the railing and slowed down, if I'd landed on my head instead of my arm. Tell me exactly what happened. Everything. She took a shaky breath. I woke up to get some water. I heard Uncle Derek on the phone in his study. The door was cracked open. He was talking about the harbor project, the one they've been fighting about in the city council meetings. He said something about cleaning the accounts before the audit and making sure Castellano Development looks clean. Then he said he'd already taken care of Mitchell, and that one more, loose end, and we're clear. I knew those words. I'd heard variations of them 100 times in my FBI career. This wasn't business talk. This was criminal conspiracy. I must have made a noise because he turned and saw me. He ended the call and asked me what I was doing up. I said I was just getting water. He smiled. But it wasn't his normal smile, Dad. It was cold. He asked me if I'd heard anything interesting. I said no, but he knew I was lying. What happened then? He told me to go back to bed. I did. I was scared, so I texted you, but you were probably asleep. An hour later, I heard someone in my room. It was Uncle Derek. He said we should go downstairs and talk, that he wanted to explain what I'd heard. I didn't want to, but he was being really nice, and I thought maybe I'd misunderstood. Her hands were shaking. I held them gently. We got to the top of the stairs. He was behind me. He started talking about the harbor project, about how complicated business is, how sometimes things sound bad, but they're actually legal. Then he stopped talking. I turned to look at him, and his expression was different. Hard. And he put both hands on my back and shoved. Did anyone else see? No. Mom was asleep. I screamed when I fell, and that's when she and Uncle Derek came running. But he was already crying, already saying I'd tripped. By the time Mom got there, he was trying to help me, acting devastated. And she believed him immediately. A doctor came in then, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes. Mr. Donovan? That's me. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I've been examining Emma. She has a fractured radius, a mild concussion, and extensive bruising along her back and ribs. The fracture is clean and will heal well with the cast. The concussion is more concerning, but her cognitive function seems normal. No signs of permanent damage. What about the bruising pattern? Dr. Chen hesitated, glancing at Emma, then back at me. The bruising on her back is consistent with impact from the fall. But there are two distinct marks on her shoulder blades. Like finger pressure, hard finger pressure. Could that be from someone catching her? Trying to stop the fall? If someone tried to catch her, the marks would be on her upper arms or shoulders. These are on her back, positioned like someone pushed her. I felt something cold settle into my chest. You're saying this wasn't an accident. I'm saying the injury pattern raises questions. I've already filed a report with hospital administration, and I've documented everything with photographs. The police have been informed. Thank you, Dr. Chen. She nodded and left. Emma was crying again, quietly this time. It's going to be okay, I told her. I promise you, it's going to be okay. But Mom doesn't believe me. And Uncle Derek is on the city council. He knows all the police, all the judges. Dad, what if nothing happens to him? I looked at my daughter, 15 years old, broken arm, scared out of her mind. Because her uncle tried to kill her, and her mother chose to believe the lie. Then I'll make something happen, I said. When I walked back out to the waiting room, Rachel was alone. Derek had apparently left. She stood up when she saw me, her expression a mix of hope and defiance. How is she? Broken arm, concussion, traumatized. Marcus, I know you're upset, but you have to listen to reason. Derek would never. The doctor found finger-shaped bruises on her back, Rachel. From someone pushing her. She flinched but didn't back down. That doesn't mean Derek did it. Maybe she bumped into something earlier. Maybe. Stop. You don't understand. Derek has been there for us. When your FBI salary wasn't enough, when we were struggling, he helped us. He got you the security consulting job. He's family, Marcus. He tried to kill our daughter. You don't know that. Emma is a smart girl, but she's also dramatic. She watches too many crime shows. She probably heard Derek on a business call, misinterpreted it, got scared, and fell. And now her imagination is filling in the gaps. I stared at my wife. At this woman I'd loved for 17 years. At the mother of my child. And I didn't recognize her. You really believe that? I believe my brother wouldn't hurt Emma. I believe you're letting your old FBI instincts make you paranoid. I believe we need to support Derek through this horrible accident, not accuse him of attempted murder. Then we have a problem. What does that mean? It means I'm taking Emma home with me. To my apartment. Your apartment? Marcus, we've been separated for 6 months, but we still share custody. You can't just watch me. Our daughter was attacked in your house by your brother, and you're defending him. I'm not leaving her in that environment. I'll call my lawyer. Call whoever you want. I went back to Emma's room and told her to get dressed. We were leaving. Dr. Chen discharged her with pain medication and instructions for follow-up. As we walked out, Officer Patterson approached me. Agent Donovan, Mr. Donovan, can I speak with you privately? I told Emma to wait by the car and walked with Patterson to a quiet corner. I wanted you to know that I'm taking this seriously. Dr. Chen's report, Emma's statement, the evidence. I'm going to investigate this properly. But, he grimaced, but Councilman Castellano is well-connected, very well-connected. My sergeant already called me and asked if this was really necessary, suggested maybe it was just a family dispute that got blown out of proportion. Your sergeant take campaign donations from Castellano? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. He looked uncomfortable. Look, I remember working with you on Moretti. I remember how thorough you were, how you didn't stop until you had the truth. I want to do right by your daughter, but I'm also a beat cop with a mortgage and 2 kids. I can't afford to make enemies at the council level. I understood. I hated it, but I understood. Do what you can, I said. Document everything. Stay honest. The rest, I'll handle. He nodded and walked away. I got Emma settled in my car, and we drove to my apartment across town. It was a modest 2-bedroom place. Nothing like the house Rachel and I had shared, but it was mine, and it was safe. You're going to stay here for a while, I told Emma as I helped her into bed. Until things get sorted out. Mom's going to be so mad. Let her be mad. Dad. What did Officer Patterson mean? About Uncle Derek being connected? I sat on the edge of her bed. Derek has money and influence that makes people nervous about going against him. So nothing's going to happen to him? I didn't say that. But the police won't help. The police have rules, procedures, politics. I looked at my daughter. I don't. What are you going to do? What I used to do best. Find the truth and make sure it comes out. Emma was quiet for a moment. Mom's going to say you're being crazy, that you're obsessed. She might be right about the obsessed part. Will you and Mom ever get back together? That question hurt more than I expected. I don't know, sweetheart. Right now, I'm just focused on keeping you safe. She nodded and closed her eyes. I sat there until she fell asleep, then went to my home office and opened my laptop. Derek Castellano, city councilman, developer, real estate mogul. On the surface, a respected public servant. But Emma had heard him talking about cleaning accounts, about taking care of Mitchell, about loose ends. I opened an encrypted browser and logged into databases I technically shouldn't still have access to, old FBI contacts, private investigator networks, financial tracking systems. I started with Mitchell. There were 3 Mitchells who died in Chicago in the last 6 months. One was 87. One was a car accident. One was listed as a suicide. Daniel Mitchell, age 42, accountant, found in his apartment 3 weeks ago. Single gunshot wound to the head. Ruled a suicide despite no history of depression and a note that seemed slightly off to his family. I dug deeper. Daniel Mitchell had worked for Castellano Development. He'd been the senior accountant on the Harbor Project. The Harbor Project. A $1 billion development deal that had been controversial from the start. Environmental concerns. Displacement of low-income residents. Accusations of bribery and kickbacks that never quite stuck. And now the accountant was dead, and my daughter had overheard Derek talking about cleaning accounts before an audit. I spent the next 4 hours building a timeline. Derek's phone records obtained through a contact who owed me a favor. Bank statements pulled from another source I won't name. Property records, council meeting minutes. By morning, I had a picture. Not proof, not yet, but a picture. Derek had been taking kickbacks from contractors, funneling money through shell companies, falsifying environmental reports, and Mitchell had known. Mitchell had been the one who could prove it, so Mitchell had to go. And now Emma knew too much. Not enough to prove anything, but enough to be dangerous, enough to investigate. Enough to ask questions. So, Emma had to go too. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Rachel, Marcus, we need to talk. About what? About you kidnapping our daughter. I picked up Emma from the hospital and brought her to my home. That's not kidnapping. My lawyer says otherwise. I want her back today, or I'm calling the police. Your brother tried to kill her, Rachel. That's insane, and you know it. You're having some kind of episode. Maybe being back in that investigative mindset is triggering something. You should talk to someone. I am talking to someone. You. And I'm telling you that Derek is dirty, that he killed Daniel Mitchell, and that he tried to kill Emma to cover it up. Silence. Then, you've lost your mind. Daniel Mitchell. Look him up. He worked for Derek. He killed himself 3 weeks ago, allegedly. People commit suicide, Marcus. It happens. Not people who are about to expose billion-dollar fraud schemes. I'm done with this conversation. Bring Emma back by noon, or I'm filing for emergency custody. She hung up. I checked on Emma. Still sleeping, the pain medication keeping her under. I made coffee and returned to my computer. If the police wouldn't help, I needed someone who would. I pulled up my contact list and found a name I hadn't called in 3 years. Donovan. Didn't expect to hear from you, Marcus Webb answered on the second ring. Webb had been my partner at the FBI, now running a private investigation firm. I need help. Must be serious if you're calling me. I told him everything. Emma's fall. Derek's conversation. Mitchell's suicide. The pattern emerging. Webb was quiet for a long moment. This is heavy, Marcus. City councilman, attempted murder, fraud. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong. If you're wrong, you'll lose everything. Custody of Emma, your reputation, maybe your freedom if they spin it as harassment. And if I'm right and I do nothing, my daughter is still in danger. Fair point. What do you need? I need Daniel Mitchell's apartment searched. Properly searched. I need his computer files, his notes, anything that might have survived. Cops already cleared it. Cops might have missed something, or been told to miss something. I'll send my guys. What else? I need surveillance on Derek. Where he goes, who he meets, phone conversations, if you can manage it. That's sketchy legal territory. I know. Webb's side. You know this could blow back on both of us. I know. But Webb, she's 15. Her own mother doesn't believe her. If I don't do this, nobody will. All right. I'm in. But Marcus, if this goes south, I never heard from you. Understood. I spent the next 2 days building my case. Webb's team searched Mitchell's apartment and found a hidden external drive taped behind a drawer. On it, spreadsheets, detailed records of payoffs, falsified reports, shell company transactions, everything pointing to Derek Castellano. Webb surveillance caught Derek meeting with Leo Marchetti, a known fixer with connections to organized crime. Their conversation, recorded with a directional microphone, included Derek saying, "The girl problem is temporary. If the father keeps pushing, we handle him too." That was it. Confirmation that Emma wasn't safe. That I wasn't safe. That Derek was willing to kill to protect his empire. I compiled everything into a dossier. Financial records. The hidden drive from Mitchell's apartment. Surveillance footage. Dr. Chen's medical report showing the finger-shaped bruises. Emma's statement. Then I made copies. Lots of copies. One copy went to the FBI's Public Corruption Unit. One went to the State Attorney General. One went to a journalist I trusted at the Chicago Tribune. One went to the IRS. And one went to every member of the city council, except Derek Castellano. I hand-delivered the council copies myself, walking into City Hall at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. Derek was in his office. He looked up when I walked in, and for just a second, I saw fear flicker across his face. "Marcus, what are you doing here? Thought we should talk. Man to man. I don't think that's a good idea." Emotions are running high, and... "Sit down, Derek." Something in my voice made him sit. I closed the door and pulled up a chair. "Daniel Mitchell. You remember him?" "Of course. Tragic what happened. You had him killed." Derek's face went carefully blank. "That's a serious accusation." "Not an accusation. A fact. I have his financial records. The ones he hid before you had Marchetti put a bullet in his head." "I don't know what you're talking about." "The Harbor Project kickbacks. The shell companies. The falsified environmental reports. It's all documented, Derek. Every dollar, every lie." He leaned back in his chair, studying me. The mask was slipping now. The concerned family man was gone, replaced by something colder. "You can't prove any of this." I don't have to. The FBI can. The state AG can. The IRS definitely can. I leaned forward. But that's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? To tell you that if you ever come near my daughter again, if you even think about her, I will end you. Not arrest you. Not expose you. End you. Do you understand? He smiled. Actually, smiled. Big talk from a guy who left the FBI to push paper. You're not that person anymore, Marcus. You've gone soft. You tried to murder a 15-year-old girl to cover up your fraud scheme. How soft do you think I'm willing to be? The smile faded. Rachel will never forgive you for this. You know that, right? She'll always choose me. Family loyalty runs deep. Then she's made her choice. I stood up and walked to the door. Marcus, Derek called after me. You're making a mistake. No, Derek. You made the mistake. You made it when you pushed my daughter down the stairs. I left City Hall and went back to my apartment. Emma was sitting on the couch, her casted arm in a sling, watching TV. Dad? Where did you go? Taking care of things. Is it working? It will. The Tribune published the story 3 days later. Front page. City councilman implicated in fraud, possible murder. The reporter had done her homework, connecting Mitchell's death to the Harbor Project irregularities, citing the hidden financial records, interviewing witnesses. The FBI announced an investigation the same day. The state attorney general's office issued a statement. Derek's assets were frozen pending audit, and Rachel filed for divorce. She came to my apartment a week after the story broke. I let her in, and we sat across from each other in my living room like strangers. You destroyed him, she said. He tried to kill our daughter. You destroyed our family. He did that when he pushed Emma down the stairs. Rachel's eyes were red. She looked older than I remembered, tired. I didn't want to believe you. I still don't want to believe you. Derek is my brother. He raised me after our parents died. He paid for my college. He's always been there. I know. But Emma gave her statement to the FBI yesterday. In detail. And the agents showed me the medical report, the financial records, everything you found. And I can't pretend anymore. She started crying. Not quiet tears, broken, gasping sobs. I chose him over her, over my own daughter. What kind of mother does that? I didn't answer. There wasn't an answer that would help. She won't talk to me, Rachel continued. I've called, I've texted, I came by yesterday, and she won't see me. She said she doesn't have a mother anymore. Give her time. How much time, Marcus? How long before she forgives me for not believing her when she needed me most? I don't know, Rachel. That's up to Emma. She wiped her eyes and stood up. Derek's arraignment is next week. They're charging him with attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, and they're investigating Mitchell's death. His lawyers say he might take a plea. Good. The Harbor Project is dead. The city is going to have to refund millions. Derek's company is bankrupt. Our family name is ruined. Your family name. Not mine. Not Emma's. She looked at me with something close to hatred. You could have handled this differently. Quietly. You didn't have to destroy everything. Yes, I did. Because anything less than complete destruction, and he would have come back. He would have found a way to hurt Emma again. To hurt us. I couldn't risk that. So instead, you risked everything else. I saved our daughter's life. Rachel walked to the door, then turned back. I loved you, Marcus. I loved the life we built. I loved who we were together, and you threw it all away. No, Rachel. Derek threw it away when he decided his money was more important than Emma's life. You threw it away when you believed him instead of her. I just cleaned up the mess. She left. Emma came out of her room a few minutes later. She'd been listening. You okay? I asked. No, but I will be. Your mom loves you, Emma. She made a mistake, but she loves you. I know. I'm just not ready to hear it yet. That's fair. She sat next to me on the couch. Did you mean what you said? About ending Uncle Derek if he came near me? Yes. Would you really have done it? I looked at my daughter. At her broken arm and healing bruises. At the fear still lingering in her eyes. And I answered honestly. Yes, I would have. She leaned against my shoulder, careful of her cast. Thank you for believing me, Dad. Always, sweetheart. Always. Derek Castellano's trial lasted 6 weeks. The jury found him guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, And after the FBI's investigation concluded, accessory to murder in Daniel Mitchell's death, he got 35 years. Rachel moved to Portland to be near her aunt. She writes to Emma sometimes. Emma writes back occasionally. It's a process. I sold my security consulting business and went back to investigative work. Private sector this time. Webb and I are partners now. We take cases the police won't touch. Cases where the system fails. Emma is 17 now. She's applying to colleges, thinking about criminal justice programs. She says she wants to help people who aren't believed. People like she was that night in the hospital. Her arm healed perfectly. The doctors say you can barely see where the break was. But some breaks don't heal so clean. The break between Emma and her mother, the break between Rachel and me, those are still visible, still painful. Sometimes late at night, I think about Derek's trial, about him standing in court while the verdict was read, about the look on his face when he realized he'd lost everything. And I remember what Emma overheard him say on the phone that night. One more loose end and we're clear. She was the loose end. My 15-year-old daughter was a problem to be eliminated. I don't regret what I did. Not for a second. No half measures. No mercy. When someone threatens your child, you don't hesitate. You don't compromise. You protect them with everything you have, even if it costs you your marriage, your comfortable life, your peace. Emma is safe. Derek is in prison, and I can live with the rest. That's enough.